Good evening, America. Today is Wednesday, the 7th of July. It is approximately 10:39. We're going to start off with Psalms 93. It is an anonymous song. It is one color, purple for the Trinity. It has 5 verses. I will be reading it both from my Bible as well as this international Bible. It reads like this: The Lord ranges. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength. Wherewith he has girded himself, the world also is established, that it cannot be moved too. Thy throne is established of old. Thou art from everlasting three. The floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lifted up their waves. 4. The Lord on high is mightier than the noises of many waters, yea, than the mightiest waves of the earth. The Lord is high. The Lord on high is mightier than the noises of many waters, yea, than the mightiest waves of the sea. The Lord is high, is mightier than the noises of many waters, yea, than the mightiest waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thy house, O Lord, forever. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thy house, O Lord, forever. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thy house, O Lord, forever. Amen. Now let's read it from here. It says, The Lord ranges. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed. He has girded himself with strength. Surely the world is established, so that it cannot be moved too. Your throne is established of old. You are from everlasting three. The floods have lifted up, O Lord. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their waves. 4. The Lord is high, is mightier than the noises of many waters, than the mighty waves of the sea. 5. Your testimonies are sure. Holiness adores your house, O Lord, forever. 5. Your testimonies are very sure. Holiness adores your house, O Lord, forever. Amen. Okay. We will be reading about hate. It seems to be the topic that I'm on constantly, but I don't choose the topics. Okay, hate. What is that? Hate is to dislike something strongly with strong feeling. Okay, to dislike something with strong feeling. Okay, and the objects of hate are often God's people in Genesis 26, and also God also can also be the object of hate. And we will be reading from Exodus 20 today. Okay, Exodus 20. I have given you an introduction for Exodus 20 some time ago, so we will not get the introduction today. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to it on this page here. I have some guests. If you hear them in the background, they are my wonderful grandchildren. All right. Exodus 20 talks about the 10 Commandments. All right. It is a very short verse, only 26 verses. It has purple for the Trinity, brown for Satan. It has a lot of olive for commandments, a half a verse of gold for prophecy. And in this verse, we will be learning about the 10 Commandments. I will be reading it both from my Bible as well as from the International Bible, just to make sure that everybody is understanding what is being read to you tonight. Okay, so verse 1 says, And God spake all these words, saying, verse 2, another thing about this particular chapter, ladies and gentlemen, it is all uppercase lettering. Every verse is uppercase lettering. Okay? Verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. 3. Thou shalt have no other God before me. 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth below, or that is in the waters under the earth. 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Now, verse 5 is a split verse that has part brown for Satan and part purple for the Trinity. The brown says, Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. The purple part says, For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Okay? 6. And showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Okay, so if you love God, you are going to uh, try to live according to his ways. Okay, and part of your life includes paying attention to laws, not only man-made laws, but the laws that came before man-made laws, and these laws are godly laws, sanctions that we are to keep up with, and they are called the Ten Commandments. 6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. 7 is olive for a commandment. Everything that is olive is a commandment. We don't have a choice in whether or not we're going to follow it. We must follow it according to the laws of God. And 7 says, Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. The black part, it's a split verse, says, For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. 8 to 11 is also olive for commandments. 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 9. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. 10. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy sons, nor thy daughter, thy manservants or thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. 11. Still olive. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. He made that day a very special, holy day. What is the seventh day? It is Saturday. Saturday is the Sabbath. The Sabbath cannot be any other day but Saturday. Okay? It is the last day of the week. The first day of the week is Sunday. All right. Verse 12 is part part yellow for family and part gold for prophecy. The family part says, Honor thy father and thy mother. The gold part says that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So if you honor your father and mother, not just your mother and father, but any other elder that is old enough to be your mother or father is considered to be your mother and father. So therefore you should show them the same honor that you show to your own parents, if you can understand that. So every elder that is old enough to be your parent is your mother and your father, and you are to honor and respect them, giving them the same respect you give to your birth mother or your birth father. So 12 says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. 13, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. Now, don't get this wrong. There is a time and a place for all things. The Bible says that there's a time to be born, there's a time to die, there's a time for laughter, there's a time for sorrow, and there is also a time to kill. Okay, but we are not to kill someone mindlessly, deceitfully. Okay, there is a time to kill. When a soldier is at war, it is a time to kill. Okay, because you will kill or be killed in a battlefield. All right, and in certain situations where you are defending yourself against a true foul, and if the demise of that individual comes about, that is a time to kill, because every man has the right to defend themselves. Every man. Okay? But we should not kill deceitfully. That's what that speaks of. Okay? You should not plot to kill someone. That's what that speaks of. Okay? So, thou shalt not kill. That is also olive. 14 is yellow for family. Thou shalt not commit adultery. All right, let me explain this to you, America. Sex was created for a husband and wife. Let me repeat that. Sex was created for a husband and wife. So if you have a boyfriend, if you have a fiance, if you have a sugar daddy, that does not apply to you. Okay, so if you're having sex with someone who is not your spouse, that is committing adultery. If you are a spouse and you are having sex outside of marriage, that is also considered adultery. I hope I made myself very clear. Anyone having sex with someone who is not their spouse is committing adultery. And the law says here, thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay. Let's not even talk about sex with the same sex. That's a totally different topic. All right. 15 and 16 and 17 is olive for commandment. Thou shalt not steal. Thou should not intentionally steal. But if you go into a store and you find a homeless man stealing a loaf of bread, that is different than if you go into a store and find a man stealing electronic, stealing from the bank, stealing from family members. That is different. Okay, you even handle both situations in a different manner. Thou shalt not steal means that no one should steal. But there is situations in life in which stealing may sometimes be necessary. Okay? If you are poor, you have no money, and you are hungry, you're going to steal. You're not going to steal a candy bar. You're going to steal food, chicken, bread, something that you can feed yourself or feed your family. So there are times in which stealing is acceptable. In the same case as with David, for example. When he went into the temple, he did not steal the bread, but he took that which was normally meant for the priest. But because his men were hungry, he was allowed to eat that which was normally reserved for the priest only. He didn't steal it, but he helped himself to it with permission because he was what? Hungry. Okay. Um, 15. Thou should not steal. 16. Also Olive. Thou should not bear false witness against thy neighbor. No one should be able to come to you and bribe you into confessing to something that you know is not true. Okay? Because sometimes that which you confess can injure another individual, causing them to serve time when they're innocent, causing them to lose their jobs. It's just that being a false witness is one of the worst things that God hates. It's among the 7 things that God hates. So you should never, ever allow yourself to be coerced to lying on an innocent individual. All right? 17. Thou should not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou should not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Anything that your brother has, which is your neighbor, whether it's your sister or your brother, you can have it too. The same God that gave it to them can give it to you, because God is not like man. He is not a respecter of persons. So therefore, you should have no desire to have whatever your brother has, whether it's his wife, his job, his money, his house, his kids. Nothing your sister or brother have should be something that you should be wanting for yourself. Okay, in the same way that the Lord gave your brother, he can give to you. All you have to do is ask. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it every time you ask the Lord for something, but you have a better chance of obtaining it if you ask the Lord for it. Okay? And if it's his will, he will grant your request. Point blank, period. All right? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservants, nor his maidservants, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. 18, 19, 20, and 21 is blue for salvation. And all the people saw the thundering and lightning and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. 19. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die. 20. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, that his fear may be before your face, that ye sin not. Often, whenever you are a true believer, you're going to have a true sense of fear for God. And that fear for God will keep you from doing many of the things that a person who fears not the Lord, who knows not the Lord. Okay, so fearing God is an important part of worshiping God. Okay, if you fear God, you are not going to be a pastor betting the women in the congregation. If you fear God, you are not going to be a pastor betting your brother. If you fear God, you are not going to be a pastor betting children and animals. Why? Because your fear of God will keep you from doing all of these evil things. If you fear God, you are not going to be a husband that goes outside of the marriage, or a wife that goes outside of the marriage. If you fear God, you are not going to try to manipulate yourself into killing your spouse. If you fear God, you will not raise your voice or dishonor your parents or any adult or any elder in any situation, because you have fear for God. So you have fear of the repercussion that he will bring upon you. Fearing man, you have no need to fear man. Man can't do anything for you or to you but take your, he can kill you. Man can kill you, but he can do nothing with your soul or your spirit. Okay, that belongs to God. So therefore, you have no need to fear man, but you do need to fear God in order to worship him. Okay. Um, and Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your face, that ye sin not. Okay, 21, still blue, and the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. 22 and 23 is brown for Satan. And the Lord said unto Moses, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. 23, still brown. Ye shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold. You are not to make anything out of silver and gold and bow down to it as if it was your God. Okay. 24 to 26, back to olive commandments. An altar of earth shall that an altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offering, thy sheep and thy oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. 25. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it or of hewn stone, for if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. So you are not to cut that stone or do anything to that stone to change the form of the stone. You should use the stone as it is. If you touch it in any way to try to shape it, then you now have taken that pure stone and polluted it. Okay? I will repeat 24. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offering, thy sheep, and thy oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. 25. If thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewed stone, for it if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. 26, the last verse. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto my altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. So that means if you are in the temple and you have to go up the steps, the Lord should not see any of your nakedness. So you should wear something that will cover that portion of your body. Okay, so let's read it from here. I usually flip-flop, but I thought it would be best to just read the whole thing and then read it from here. Verse 1. And God spoke all these things, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. 3. You shall have no other God before me. 4. You shall not make for yourselves a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children of the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. 7. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Using his name in a curse is taking his name in vain. Okay. 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you should labor and do all your work. 10. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servants, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. 11. For 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea and all that is in it, and rested the seventh day. Therefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. It is a very special day above all the other days. 12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. 13. You should not murder. 14. You should not commit adultery. 15. You shall not steal. 16. You should not bear false witness against your neighbors. One of the 7 things the Lord hates. There are 7 things the Lord hates, and this one is among those 7 things. Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. 17. You should not covet your neighbor's house. You should not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, or nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. 18. The people afraid of God's presence. 18. Now all the people witnessed the thundering, the lightning flashes, the sound of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they trembled and stood afar off. 19. Then they said to Moses, You speak with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. 20. And Moses said unto the people, Do not fear, for God has come to test you, and that his fear may be before you, so that you may not sin. 21. So the people stood afar off, but Moses drew near the thick darkness where God was. The law of the altar. 22. Then the Lord said to Moses, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, You have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. 23. You shall not make anything to be with me. Gods of silver or gods of gold you shall not make for yourselves. 24. An altar of earth you shall make for me, and you shall sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In every place where I record my name, I will come to you and I will bless you. 25. And if you make me an altar of stone, you should not build it of hewn stone, for if you use your tool on it, you have profaned it. 26. Nor shall you go up by steps to my altar, that your nakedness may not be exposed on it. Okay, and that is all 25 verses of Exodus 21. Okay, I wanted to add a few more things that I wanted to give you yesterday. And I think we'll just do one page today. Signs. What are wonders? Signs. Signs are an outward token having spiritual significance. What are wonders? Wonders are miraculous works. Okay? What is a covenant? A covenant is a spiritual agreement between God and his people. Descriptive of heavenly bodies, Genesis 1:14. And God said, Let there be light in the expanse of the sun, to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark seasons and days and years. Okay, that's one way of signs are being used, to mark season, days, and years. Genesis 1:15. And let them be lights in the expanse of the sky, to give light on the earth. And it was so. Rainbow, Genesis 9:12-17. That was also another sign, an agreement between God and the people, that he would never again use a flood as a form of punishment. Genesis 9:12. And God said, This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. Genesis 9:13. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Genesis 9:14. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth, and the rainbow appears in the clouds. Genesis 9:15. I will remember my covenant between me and you, and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. That was the sign of the rainbow. Genesis 9:16, wherever the rainbow appears in the cloud, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth. Genesis 9:17, so God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth. Okay? Circumcision is also a sign that all men are to have themselves circumcised. Genesis 17:11. Uh, you are to undergo circumcision, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and you. Genesis 17:12. For the generations to come, every male among you who is 8 days old must be circumcised, including those born in your household or brought with money from foreigners, those who are not your offspring. All these individuals had to be circumcised. 27 Genesis 17:13, whether born in your household or brought with money, you must be circumcised. My covenant in your flesh is to be an everlasting covenant. I had two sons, though I had them circumcised when they were first born while they were still in the hospital. At the time, I didn't realize. I knew in my spirit that this was important for my sons to be circumcised. I didn't realize until after I became closer to the Lord, and that's when I realized that I should have had them circumcised at 8 days old instead of right away. But the end result is that they were circumcised. Okay, that will be all for today. I hope you got something out of it. As always, I encourage you to read your Bible, sit down and have a meal with the Lord. Do something for someone who cannot return the favor to you, for the Lord will bless you indeed. And teach the laws of God to your little children, to your grandchildren. Teach them that which is true and not that which the world has made up for us to teach our children. In the meantime, may the peace of God be upon you. May the protection of God surround you. And may the will of God, whatever that might be for your life, come from you. Until the next time, thank you very much for listening to Spiritual Water. My name is Brenda Guerrero. Have a wonderful night.